Welcome to VLearn Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 21, Elections. Topics which we are going to cover in this session are election system in India, history of Indian elections, who conducts election, election procedure, increasing number of candidates, how does the voting take place? Voter turnout in India elections. Who forms the government? Elections and social change. Coming towards the first topic, that is election system in India. Elections to the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha are carried out using the first past the post-electoral system. The country is divided into different geographical areas known as the constituencies. Different political parties contest the elections though there is no ban on independent candidate for contesting the election. Who is allowed to vote? While there is no maximum age prescribable for the voter, as per the original provisions of the Indian Constitution, all Indian citizens above the age of 21 years are entitled to vote at the time of elections. The minimum voting age of the citizen was reduced to 18 years by the Constitution 61 Amendment Act in the year 1988 by the Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, which came into effect since 28 March 1989. Who can contest election? All contesting candidates have to make a deposit of rupees 10,000 if contesting for the Lok Sabha election and rupees 5,000 if contesting for the Vidhan Sabha elections. This is considered as the security deposit of the candidate. The security deposit for candidates belonging to either the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe community is rupees 5,000 if contesting the Lok Sabha elections and rupees 2,500 for the contesting of the Vidhan Sabha elections. Next is the history of Indian elections. In India, we have a federal form of government where we have two sets of government, the central government at the national level and the state government at the state level. At these three levels of government are the popularly elected government, and the people vote to elect the representatives for all these three bodies, the parliament, the assembly and the village panchayat. As per the provisions of Indian Constitution, the routine election should take place after every 5 years, but in case of untimely dissolution of the House. The first general election, parliamentary elections, were held in our country in the year 1952. Since then, there have been 13 general elections. Those are the Lok Sabha elections till 1999. Though most of the Lok Sabha elections have been held after the completion of the 5 years of term of the House, yet there have been elections much before the schedule. Next is the history of Indian elections. As per the total number of members in the upper house in the state assembly, that is Vidhan Parishad, it should not be more than 1/3 of the total members in the lower house, that is Vidhan Sabha. but at the same time, it should not be less than 40 members. The total strength of Vidhan Sabha varies from state to state. The Uttar Pradesh had the largest number of 403 Vidhan Sabha seats in the assembly, right? The lowest number is that of the state of Sikkim, which has the total of 32 seats in the Vidhan Sabha. Who conducts election? The Election Commission of India is the highest constitutional authority to conduct elections in India. The power of superintendence, direction and control of the preparation of the electoral roll for conducting all the elections to the parliament and to the legislature of every state, and also of the election to the office of the president and that of the vice president are vested with this constitutional authority. The Election Commission shall consist of Chief Election Commissioner and such number of other election commissioners as the president may from time to time fix and make appointments. The 2 election commissioners were appointed, and since then the Election Commission has remained to be a 3-member body. Till date, there had been 12 election commissioners in India. Next is the election procedure. The entire election procedure takes a couple of months to be completed, though the schedule for holding the election is announced by the Election Commission of India well in advance. The actual process begins by the formal declaration by the Election Commission of India calling upon a constituency to elect its representative. This is what is referred as the notification. The second stage is that of filling of the nomination by those desiring to contest elections. The third step is the security of nominations. The next step is withdrawal of candidate, which was earlier fixed by the 3rd day after the security of the nomination, but later amended in the year 1966. The next stage of election before the voting takes place is that of the campaigning. This is the time when the political parties put forward their candidate and arguments with which they hope to persuade people to vote for their candidates and their parties. In the recent times, the Election Commission has granted all the recognized national and state parties free access to the state-owned electronic media, the All India Radio and the Doordarshan to do their campaigning. The total free time is fixed by the Election Commission, which is allotted to all the political parties, keeping in view their performance during the last election in the state. The final stage of election is the voting. With regard to polling, the earlier practice had been to have a single day polling, but the recent practice have been for the phased polling, in which polling takes place on more than one day with a gap of couple of days between the 2 days of polling. This facilitates the movement of security forces from one place to another, which is engaged in managing the law and order situation during the polling. Next are the increasing number of candidates. During the first Lok Sabha elections, only 1874 candidates contested the election, which in India went up to 13,952 during the year 1996 Lok Sabha elections. The total number of contesting candidates was 4,753 in 1998, which further went down to 4,648 during the year 1999 Lok Sabha elections. The average number of candidates contesting the Lok Sabha election was only 3.8 candidates per constituency, which did not increase much till the year 1977. So here is a graph which shows the increasing number of candidates from the year 1952 till 1999. In 1952, the percentage of candidates which contested in the elections are 3.8. In the year 1980, it goes up to 8.8%. Further moving to the year 1991, it comes to be 16.3%. Until 1999, the highest percentage of candidates which contest the elections are 25.7% in the year 1996, which further goes down to 8.7% in the year 1998, and further there is a decline of 0.2% in the year 1999. How does the voting takes place? We in India have the system of secret ballot, which implies that the vote of all the voters is kept secret. The traditional pattern of voting had been the use of the ballot paper and the ballot box, which in the recent times are being replaced by the use of electronic voting machines. It is the duty of the Election Commission to make all necessary arrangements so that the voters can cast their vote. Now, the Election Commission tries to ensure that a polling booth is located not more than a distance of 2 kilometers of every voter, and the polling booth should not have more than 12,000 registered voters. On the polling day, all the polling booths are expected to be open for at least 8 hours. When the voters go to vote, the entry of his name in the voter list is checked and then allotted a ballot paper and a rubber stamp. The voters are required to stamp the symbol of the candidate they would wish to vote, fold the ballot paper, and then put the ballot paper in the ballot box. Once this process is completed, the voter had cast his vote. In the recent times, with the introduction of the EMV, the voter is required to push the button for the symbol of the candidate one wishes to vote, and his vote is registered. Next is the voter turnout in Indian elections. The percentage of those who vote is referred to as the polling percentage, particularly called the turnout of votes. The voter turnout has increased to a great extent in 80s and 90s compared to the elections held during the early days. The lowest voter turnout of only 4.7% was recorded during the first Lok Sabha election held in the year 1952, and the highest turnout of 64.1% was recovered in the year 1984, when the Lok Sabha election was held following the assassination of the Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi. The graph shows the voter turnout in Indian elections. Now the next topic is who forms the government. The political party which has a simple majority, which implies that the party should have won at least one seat, more than half the total number of seats in the Lok Sabha in case of the centre, or in the Vidhan Sabha in case of the state, form the government. The results of the 13th Lok Sabha election held in our country indicates that it is the Congress party which won the majority of seats in Indian elections on many occasions. But the party was never managed to get more than 50% of valid votes polled in the elections. The Congress party during the 1991 Lok Sabha elections, when it won 244 Lok Sabha seats and polled 36.6% of the popular votes. When no political party gets the majority of seats in the House, it is considered as the hunch house. Under such circumstances, two or more parties jointly form the government or the political party, with the maximum number of seats form the government and is supported by other small political parties from the outside. When two or more parties jointly form a government, it is considered as coalition government. Elections and the social change. Reservation of seats for the SCs, the STs at all the levels of legislative bodies, whether it is national, state and the local, and with the passage of the 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments, has enabled even the women and the OBCs to get elected to the seats reserved for them in the village panchayat and municipalities. Generally, the candidates are given tickets by the political party on the consideration, where the candidates muster the support of numerically larger caste and communities and possesses enough resources. Even the electorates vote on the caste and communal lines. A large number of elected representatives have criminal background or have some criminal caste registered against them. Now, in the last, there is an exercise for you. Some questions which are based on this session. The questions are: number 1, which impact have the elections in India had on the weaker section of the society? And number 2, what are the main constraints of the electoral politics in India? That's all for this session. Thank you. Happy learning. We learning.